Chapter 9. I had intended to simply discard the food box somewhere after leaving the palace. But then I thought, wouldn't it be better to take the marble cakes made by Beckett Sterling to Elias Vanderbilt? I sat in the chair, propped my chin up, and watched Elias Vanderbilt open the food box, pick up a piece of pastry, and eat it slowly and deliberately. "Is it good?" I asked. Elias Vanderbilt nodded. "Delicious. Miss Silas's cooking is excellent." "I didn't make it," I said hastily, feigning surprise. "Beckett Sterling made them. His marble cakes are the best." Hearing this, Elias Vanderbilt paused, the piece of cake in his hand hovering. He then placed the remaining half back into the food box and said, "Upon careful tasting, it doesn't quite suit my palate." I smiled, and then I saw him staring thoughtfully at the red marks on the back of my hand. I pulled out the same excuse again. After hearing it, Elias Vanderbilt didn't say anything more. Instead, he picked up the handkerchief from the table and vigorously rubbed the red marks on my hand again and again. I cried out in pain, but he continued without paying attention until fresh red marks from the handkerchief covered the fingerprints. Only then did he stop and set the handkerchief down. "It's clean now." Elias Vanderbilt looked up at me, a trace of tenderness returning to his eyes. I then said to him, "Today, Beckett Sterling said he wanted to marry me, and His Highness promised to make me." "Does Miss Silas want me to involve myself in the matter of the throne?" Elias Vanderbilt asked gently, interrupting me. I was stunned, and all the words I had prepared stuck in my throat. "Since it's what Miss Silas wants, there's no harm in doing it," Elias Vanderbilt said after staring at me for a while, then lowering his head. When he looked up again, the corners of his eyes seemed slightly red. At that moment, Elias Vanderbilt stared at me for a long time, as if anticipating we wouldn't see each other many more times. On the day the emperor died, the palace gates were wide open. Factions poured into the palace, making it as bright as day. I stood in a dimly lit corner, watching them coldly. Beckett Sterling sided with the Empress and supported the ninth prince. This was because the ninth prince was young, allowing Beckett to act as regent from behind the scenes. Although Elias Vanderbilt said he would help Jackson Mercer, he didn't actually do much about it. When all three of them had swords at their throats, I don't know why, but I suddenly vomited a mouthful of blood. Then I heard three familiar voices. "Miss Silas. Miss Silas. Miss Silas." I looked up at them. All three were looking at me, their eyes filled with undisguised worry. Gradually, the world before my eyes began to blur. Beckett Sterling, Elias Vanderbilt, and Jackson Mercer in front of me started to distort until they turned into strings of code. I knew it. The game had finally crashed. With all three main male NPCs facing mortal danger, the game could no longer continue. When I opened my eyes again, I was back home. But I could still hear their heart-wrenching screams from time to time, and their faces still haunted my mind. I didn't dare play this game anymore and refused to receive any news about it. But this Otome game was so popular that I still heard the news. It had been suddenly and permanently shut down. I sat in front of the computer, lost in thought for a long time. I think all three of them must have known what I was planning. Otherwise, how could they have spotted me so easily, hiding in a secluded spot and vomiting blood that day? The reason was probably that they had all noticed my health was getting worse and worse. How could a real person possibly survive in a game without consequences? I thought about it for a long time, and decided to delete the game. But for some reason, it was as if some external force made me accidentally click to enter it. Yet this game, clearly shut down, was still accessible to me. A few words were clearly displayed on the homepage. "Welcome back, Miss Silas.